coming up in this episode of Railway Maniacs. Come on, Andy, out of the way. We really need you to stay alive. Watch your heads. Fred has lost his head. How did that happen?
O.
And we'll have a big mess on our hands.
This is the steam locomotive named Sir Frederick Pile. In the last update, you saw us remove the cab, the cylinder covers and all the bolts that hold the boiler on. Now the big day has arrived where we lift that big silver thing away from the wheels. It will then get lifted across the road and placed next to this blue tent onto some old railway sleepers. Planning for this crane lift was not straightforward, so to show you some of the problems we had to overcome, here is a double O gauge bird's eye view of the site, crudely put together especially for this purpose. The brown engine shed is representing the blue tent that you saw, and the pen and rubber eraser are the railway sleepers. The Halls class loco at the bottom of the screen is modelling Sidmouth, which is 34010, our West Country class loco. It is just the frames of Sidmouth that we have on sites here. Here I'm going to use the Hand of God method for labelling these up just to make things a little bit clearer. Positioned directly in front of Sidmouth is Brocklebank line number 35025, and it is just the frames also of Brocklebank. And to the left and slightly back we have 34058, which is Sir Frederick Pile. Our view changes to the right, but remember Sidmouth and Brocklebank are just the frames, while Sir Frederick Pile here is still being dismantled. This particular double O gauge model will feature in some future videos, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss those. We will now switch over to Brocklebank line 35025, which is our Merchant Navy, and have a quick look at that, see what its present state of play is. Much of the frames has already been de-rusted and painted, but much of the intricate work is still to be done. As we move away from Brocklebank line in the centre there, we'll go to the left and see what 34010 Sidmouth has been up to. The frames of Sidmouth have been hiding away under these green covers for most of the winter. Its replacement chassis extensions are awaiting welding. More details to follow in the next video regarding Sidmouth. As one locomotive's loss is another one's gain. Our crane for today's boiler lift is the Liebherr LTM 1230. It has a lifting capacity of 230 tonnes at a 3 metre radius, an 8-section boom that extends up to 75 metres. That's 246 feet in old money, and is easily capable of this lift providing its stabiliser legs can be sufficiently extended. The higher cost of this mammoth crane was funded by the hard work of the friends of 34058 Sir Frederick Pile and anyone who has purchased items from this pop-up shop. You can join the free Facebook group called Friends of 34058 Sir Frederick Pile and see how you can help us bring Fred back to life. From this very store you can buy our magnificent rough and ready robots and even our desktop pen holders made from these very parts of this locomotive that we can no longer use again. They are made from the boiler's superheater elements. I'll now briefly describe what is going to happen with this crane lift. The crane will reverse in and extend its stabilising legs between the locomotives and the track bed. As I now quote the famous time-travelling scientist Dr. Emmett Brown, I apologise for the crudity of this model. I didn't have time to build it to scale or to paint it. I'll now introduce you to an actual part of the locomotive. that is modelling the boiler that we're going to lift. As you can see, it is part of the metal that you saw me cutting up a few seconds ago, and it is in a sling made from some shoelaces that is going to be representing the lifting strops from the crane. So we'll get that into position. We just have to move the model of Sir Frederick out of the way. And replace it with our mock-up boiler. We'll just attach it to the crane. The boiler's facing the wrong direction, but never mind, we won't worry about that just this minute. Once airborne, the crane will rotate anti-clockwise across the top of the nearest coach and lower the boiler towards the track bed. Back to the bird's eye view. As you can see, it's quite a tight site. There's not much room. Not enough room to swing a cat, let alone slew a crane. We're going to have to be careful with the crane's counterbalance there because it actually passes over the top of the frames of Brocklebank Line and Sidmouth. Right, said Fred, let's have a cup of tea and let's get on with this boiler lift.
Come on Andy, out of the way. We really need you to stay alive.
We have a number of different cameras filming the lift, so we'll switch between those as we go along. And one of those is the eye in the sky, the flying drone. What we are seeing here is two of the guys just making some final adjustments to the strops. There is two strops. Both of these strops are attached to a set of four-legged chains, which in turn are hanging from the crane hook. Come on fellas, pull your finger out, we haven't got all day. It looks like I'll just have to speed some of this footage up just a little bit. That's it, it's ready to go. Raise the load. That's it, the firebox end has just lifted clear. Listen for another clunk. And now the smoke box is clear as well, so we're fully airborne. They'll now let the load settle for a couple of seconds while they check the centre of gravity. They need to make sure that the centre of gravity is exactly where they expect it to be. If it's not, it can all go wrong and we'll have a big mess on our hands. Okay, now let's rotate the crane and slew the load.
The crane's slewing around. Watch your heads! Watch your heads!
Sir Frederick Pile's boiler is now passing over the top of the coach. Just a quick note guys, if you're liking this video make sure you hit that like button and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel, otherwise you might miss us putting this locomotive back into steam. Lower the load. There's the crane driver, just chilling out. It's just another day at the office. Up we go. And stop operation.
Well, as you can see, this is the boiler. We've now got the boiler secure onto the ground. This just allows us now to start work on it. This is the start of bringing a steam locomotive back to life. As I've said many times before, these steam locomotives are not just named engines. This locomotive is named Sir Frederick Pile. It's a Battle of Britain class Pacific, and it's a living war memorial. And this is what we can do now, is to bring this locomotive back to life and pay tribute to all those lads who helped us during 1940. And that we're very proud to do.
And work can immediately begin on trying to access the inside of the boiler.
People are going to say, poor thing. Fred has lost his head. How did that happen?
Work can now begin on removing the wheels from the frames. And as everyone is alive and well, we'll have a little dance. O-O-double-O. If you enjoyed that video from the Railway Maniacs, make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe. You can do that by clicking on the centre circle. If you'd like to see part 1 of this restoration, click on the box to your left. To learn more about Southern locomotives, click the box to your right.